Next, we have some information for you about the Pokemon Legends Arceus game, which is being developed by Game Freak.
Yo, what the?
Pikachu?
TGR. So recently, we got the Pokemon Presents Direct Presents thingamabob, and we saw a lot of footage from a bunch of stuff like Pokemon Unite, and we saw new footage from Diamond and the Diamond and Pearl remakes, and we also finally got to see more of Legends Arceus. I'm pretty sure it's
Arceus.
Arceus? Whatever. Anyway, after seeing the game, well, the original showing left me personally intrigued. Yo, what the?
Pikachu?
It didn't look the best. It didn't have the best graphics. It obviously had 5 FPS Pokemon, but it looked interesting. The concept of it all is really what makes me hopeful, right? This is the first time in a long time that Game Freak has even done something this radical. And I say radical for Pokemon, because it's really not that radical if we really think about it. But at the same time it is, right? The formula of Pokemon really hasn't changed over the last 26 years. And they tried some things here and there, like for Sun and Moon, they changed the way that gyms kind of worked. So that was kind of cool, but it still felt too samey. I actually bought Moon and didn't finish it because, frankly, I got kind of bored. But again, when I see more footage of Legends Arceus, it fills me with hope, right? We all grew up with Pokemon, or at least most of us did. Actually, no, scratch that. We all did, because even though you may not have been there for Gen 1, you may have been there for Gen 3, or 4, or 5, or 6, or 7, or even 8. So Pokemon has been around for a long time, and it always has that appeal that everyone just kind of wants to be part of it, wants to see more of it, wants to play it, right? A lot of people love Pokemon. And because of the nostalgia that I have for it, it hurts. It hurts to see what happened to the franchise, especially with Sword and Shield and how it didn't really do much to innovate for a whole new generation on a brand new HD quote-unquote console, the Switch. So, I don't know. It fills me with hope, but I know what comes with Game Freak being attached to the project. So, this is just a small little list of things that I think would make Legends Arceus an actually pretty good Pokemon game. And let's start with the world. In order for this game to be all that can be, right? Because the game wants you to go out there and see Pokemon and take pictures I don't know if you take pictures, that's Pokemon Snap, just kidding. But the game wants you to go out there and catch Pokemon and create the first ever Pokédex, right? And that alone, that gameplay loop alone, can probably get a bit repetitive. So what they need to do in order for that to not feel repetitive is to make the world interesting, right? Put things in there that are interesting to see. The game obviously is taking inspiration from Breath of the Wild. It's really, really obvious. And in Breath of the Wild, exploration was a part of it. Actually, I'd probably say the main part of the game was going out there and just kind of exploring the world. And there wasn't a ton to do in the world, but there was a lot to see, a lot of different sites, a lot of different architectural thingamabobbers, it just, the developers knew that if they put just something that looked a little bit off in the distance, it would keep people's imagination going, and they did. And that's what this game needs to do. It's so far from the trailers, I haven't seen anything that makes me want to explore it tremendously, like I felt with Breath of the Wild. If Game Freak didn't have that ideology at the beginning of the project, at this point it's going to be too late. But the world should definitely have interesting sights to behold, because it looks like your objectives are going to be a little monotonous. It looks like, based on some screenshots that I saw, you're going to have to defeat a certain number of Pokemon or capture a certain number of them, and that can get boring kind of quickly. And going along with things to see in the world, you got to make the traversal fun. Again, talking about Breath of the Wild, exploring the world was part of it, but traversing the world, going around, climbing everything, riding your horses and whatnot, that made Breath of the Wild also fun to play. You got to experience the world in different ways through Link's eyes and hands and legs. So the traversal in Pokemon Legends Arceus has to be fun. And we did see the Pokemon mounts, which are cool. You get to go on water or go on your, I forget his name, the reindeer dude, Windeer, whatever. And also go on the Braviera. Fuck, I suck at names. But point is, there are seemingly different ways to travel the world, right? Sky, land, and water. But just having the options may not be enough. You gotta somehow make it fun to do that, Maybe when you go up into the sky, and again, I didn't see this in the trailer, but it just was wishful thinking. Maybe in the final game you'll see it, where you'll go up in the sky and then you can kind of see more objectives. Maybe something glistening in the distance that tells you, hey, that's maybe a cool point out there. I don't know. Probably won't happen, but again, wishful thinking. And that's really important, because if you have a big world, right, and you want people to explore it, like I said earlier, you want to have interesting things, but you also want to have fun traveling the world. If it's just holding a stick forward and just waiting and waiting and waiting, that might not be fun, for long anyway. Then, of course, there's the lore. Pokemon lore can be somewhat interesting if a bit simplistic. What I believe they should do is just kind of go all out and just have fun with it. Imagine you get to see the ancestors of certain characters from Sinnoh, which I'm pretty sure they're going up to, honestly. Or even how Arceus maybe created some stuff. The idea of a Pokemon creator, right, a Pokemon god, if you will, that created a bunch of stuff is very interesting. Because it's the namesake. It's Legends Arceus. Obviously, he's going to play a big part, or it, right? It's kind of almighty, omnipotent. It's going to play a part in the story, so definitely would be interesting to see what... I don't know. Seeing Arceus in action just sounds interesting to me, and maybe seeing some sort of creative shit happen would be pretty cool too. So they got to have fun with it. You got to have fun with the lore. Do something crazy that Pokemon has never done before. Will it happen? Again, probably not. And next, it's the combat. Pokemon is an RPG. Straight up, it's just a very simple... You go out there, you battle monsters, and you get experience. And the combat system has not changed. There's been some very small incremental changes to the formula, very, very small little things throughout the 26 years that it's been out, but it really hasn't changed much. And sometimes it doesn't have to, right? You look at games like Dragon Quest, where the combat itself really, truly, it's still turn-based. It really hasn't drastically changed, but they nailed the other aspects of it, right? That you have these different party members with these different techniques and whatnot. And in Pokemon, you kind of expect that too, right? You have a party of 6 Pokemon that you can have, and they can all be totally different from one another. Yet the combat system just still feels stale. Adding the speed and power options for each move is a good idea. And it's kind of a big one, but it's also small. Because in the greater idea of Pokemon, right, each move having, 2 different options of speed versus power or whatnot, that is big, right? But it's, again, not that big of a change. All you're adding is just an extra option to already existing things. So I doubt the system is going to get changed at this point. We saw what it is. It's a little disappointing that it ended up being this instead of being something more active. Something like Final Fantasy VII Remake would actually have worked wonders, I think, where it would have been, maybe give you the option to pause and then kind of do your turn-based, quote-unquote, but also it being more active. That would have been great, but yeah, no, we didn't get that. And lastly, the graphics. We already know it doesn't look that great. Art style is promising, but pixel count looks kind of rough. Frame rate looks fine, and textures are okay. It's showing that they could have done more. You look at Monster Hunter Stories 2, and you compare the 2 games, and it's a night and day difference, unfortunately. So, graphics ain't being touched. This is Game Freak after all. They have not done anything to prove that they can handle, or rather, not that they cannot handle, because they can. 100%, they have the capacity to hire employees or workers that know how to deal with texture packs, right? They know how to deal with textures and create high-quality textures for their games. It's more of a desire to do so. They know their games sell, why would I touch them? So graphics ain't being touched, and that's unfortunate, but in my dream Pokemon game, it will look at least closer to Monster Hunter Stories 2. And that's it, guys. If in a perfect world, if Game Freak listened to this and said, hey, this guy knows what he's talking about, kind of, sort of, nah. And they took these ideas into it, I think we'd actually have a solid game. Maybe even an 8 out of 10, or, well, what I would call a TGR Gold. But unfortunately, it doesn't seem that way, if I'm honest. Based on the trailers we've seen, it looks like this will be a fun diversion, but I don't think it's going to be anything super serious. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I hope that the game does do well and it pushes Game Freak and the Pokemon Company to potentially open up their ideas into different genres for Pokemon. That's a series, the mainline series in particular, is one with great potential, and it just keeps getting wasted on the same exact formula year after year. But anyway, thanks for listening. Y'all have a good one, and I'll catch you on the next one. Later.
Hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to see more and stay up to date, subscribe, hit the little bell, and join our Discord.
If you want to support the channel, please check out our Patreon or hit the join button below. As always, thanks for your support and thanks for watching.